I want to welcome Paul Rigby from paulrigby.biz. Hey, Paul, thank you. Thanks for showing up today. So awesome to have you here on this fine morning.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's. I know it's not morning where you are, but this is a great way to start my day, to be chatting with you. I don't know what time it is. I don't know. It's 10 o'clock here. What is it there? Like 6 o'clock?
It's 5 p.m. in the evening.
5 p.m. in the evening. Well, I have to tell you, this is a great way to start my day. And so you are making me happy already today just to be here with you, because I always love the conversations that we have. And I just want to share more about that. Share you with the world is what the whole purpose of this is.
That might be dangerous.
That might be dangerous. So, and just to share a bit more about how we know each other. We met several years ago, many years ago, through the work we were doing, Happiness in the Workplace. Yep. And then we went on to develop a friendship over those years, just a really supportive friendship and a real collaboration in our same passion. And I say what we have in common is a passion for people. And I find that whenever we get into a conversation, that's always where we sort of take it. So I always enjoy my conversations with you, and I'm looking forward to having a further conversation here today. How I would describe you, if I was to describe you, well, first of all, you help people change, innovate, engage, lead, and transform. That's what I always hear you say, right? I think that's even on your website, on your book. But on a personal note, I feel like you are just a master at saying things, saying it like it is, just telling the truth, but you say it with heart. And I think that's what makes you so amazing. There's no BS with Paul. Like,
thank you.
It's out there, and you come at this with a lot of experience. Like you've got a lot of experience past you, so you know what you're talking about. And the other thing I really like about you is how simple you keep it. And for instance, you've got your book that we here sell at A Dose of Happiness now, the B book. And there you go. And first of all, I'm such a fan of teaching people through a metaphor, because the brain learns and retains things better through a metaphor. Mm-hmm. So the fact that you've created this book is really a simple and easy way for people to learn exactly what you're talking about. So right there, that's just an example of how simple you keep it. And then of course you're right on branding. I mean, look at your shirt, look at your bee, look at your beehive, hold up your coffee mug. I mean, come on, I love it. You're the bee guy, I'm the happy girl, and we're just great. Right. We're just hanging out here. Two friends hanging out. I love it. And we're just going to spread some good information to everybody out there viewing there. So, Paul, I just want to start off. This is a question I ask everybody, and it might be get tiring for some people to hear it, but I think it's such an important question, because I really believe that a lot of people really do not understand how to define it. And happiness is claimed to be the oldest pursuit of man, yet you just have to look at the stats around mental health to realize that many people are far from happy. So It's a question I really like to ask just to get people thinking. And that question is, how do you define happiness?
Yeah, I think happiness for me is a life that is rich in activities that are pleasurable and meaningful. Happiness is striving after our potential. So if I can try and keep it simple and make it crystal clear, which is my little trademark saying, is I think it's when you're comfortable in your skin. So what does that mean? It's when you have a good mental health, you have a good physical health, and you're happy in your job and you're engaged. And I always like to bring in happiness and engagement, because if I was a leader in the corporate world today, I would want my employees to be happy and engaged, because you can be happy and disengaged, and you can be engaged and unhappy. So I like to, and forgive me for doing this, but I do like to bring the two in, because I think they are synonymous with one another. I know they have different meanings, but I like to bring the two in, because engagement for me, so I told you what I think happiness is, just quickly on the engagement. So employee engagement is where you contribute something to the company and you help the company achieve its objectives and goals. And in return, the company helps you as an employee achieve your objectives and goals. It's got to be a two-way thing. It's a relationship. So, happiness is a life full of pleasurable and meaningful activities, and engagement is what I've just said it is. And I think if you can marry those two up, you're really onto a good thing. And that's what I try and do in the workshops and what you and I often talk about.
Yeah, I really like that answer because, saying happiness in the workplace can really be a word that is just really misunderstood and doesn't necessarily feel like it belongs, right? A lot is like you say, happiness, just like, no, we don't want to talk about that. It's more about the ROI and all that, right? So yeah. I really like that because it does matter. And as we have learned also too, happiness is the precursor to success, right? So it really does matter. And it is a conversation. You and I started out in this corporate world of talking about happiness. I mean, I don't know, what was that, 6-7 years ago?
I was trying to think. It's a long time ago now.
It's a long time ago. And, we've had many conversations about how hard it is to sell happiness in the workplace. But I do feel like we're coming to a point where people are starting to pay attention. Of course, I equate happiness in the workplace to supporting people's mental wellness. And that's what I talk about, not necessarily if they like their job. To me, again, that's a bit of a responsibility on the employee. If they, if they want to work at some place, or they're, it is. And what I say too is it's your responsibility to make yourself happy, as you often say, right? Yeah. But to me, happiness is the outcome. And the precursor to happiness is having a healthy mind, a healthy brain and mind. And that's a lot about what we're talking about here at HAPPIFIED. So before we can have anything else, we have to start there, because if people can't manage the negative thoughts they in their head, or the pictures they create in their head and the words in which they attach to them, they're not going anywhere. They're going to be stuck. So so that's how I talk about happiness in the workplace. So yeah.
Yeah, and I agree. It's a good place. I think. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think I've said what I needed to say on that, but I think you read all the statistics. I'll just use the Pareto ratio because that keeps it really simple. 20% of people are unhappy, 60% are in the middle of the boat and they don't know whether they are or they're not, and then the other 20% are trying to sink your boat. I just think that what we've got to do through mental education of how we overcome, mental issues, getting fitter, we all know is better for your mental health anyway, and treating people as human beings. I think these sort of things are what we want as people. We want to be treated as a human being. And I say in Be Engaged workshop, I say to people, don't treat people the way you want to be treated. Treat people the way they want to be treated. Now, you can't do that all of the time, but I think you get the analogy, right? Is to try and help people, look at what's good for them and try and adapt to that, because we are all individuals and we are all unique human beings. So I think that's really important to understand that in your personal and professional life.
Yeah, I love that, because again, you and I have talked about this, and this is a saying that you said to me many years ago. It's time to pay people more. It's time to pay them more attention. And I love that saying because it's so true. And everything is about people first right now. And if you don't think that's it, then I got no words, really.
Just on that one, I was in a workshop before the lockdown, in a live workshop doing probably to about 60 people. It was more a talk than a workshop. But I said to all the senior executives, right, this is a program on engagement. And I'm going to start off by saying we need to pay people more. And the one guy stood up and said, but money is a short-term motivator. I said, I didn't say it wasn't, and I totally agree. But you haven't let me finish my sentence. And he said, well, what is it? And I said, you've got to pay people more attention. And that's what the workshop's about. And he realized that he'd been, suckered into it, because I left that pause. But I really do believe that. And again, I'd say in your personal relationships, pay your partner, whoever you live with, more attention. Your children, your mom, your dad, your siblings, whoever that is that you live with or see a lot of, pay them more attention. And I mean focused attention, not sort of, you often see people go, hey, how are you doing? Well, let me, stop, let me talk to you. It's just an expression that they don't really care how you are. It's like saying hello, So you've got to really focus and connect with the eyes, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And really, it is the people first, and that's so much what HAPPIFIED's all about, and meeting people where they are at and raising them up. So again, we're so aligned with that. So I love that. And I think that that's really something that's, I think, going to get way more attention in the workplace. And people are starting to talk about that a lot more, about their people. And
sorry, don't interrupt, but when you said that, it's sort of falling up, they used to say, and I like a new expression I use a bit now is don't bounce back, bounce forward.
I love that.
Because that's sort of more positive. And I know people say, oh, but that's playing on words. But I also talk about, for people that have been in my workshops to know, I don't talk about feedback because I see it as negative. I talk about feed forward, because when you're giving feed forward, your mind is putting whatever it is, it's actually criticism you're giving somebody, but you're putting it in a positive way that isn't detrimental to that person, and you're supporting them. And I'm not a coach. I don't profess to be. And for anybody listening that is a coach, I think you would align with this, and you'd know how to do it better than I ever will. But at the end of the day, if you're trying to give people constructive criticism, give them feed forward versus feedback, and that in turn will help make them happy and will definitely make them feel more engaged.
Okay, so just so you know, I can't believe you just said that, because this entire week, I've really been thinking about around the word resiliency, and that word has become a real buzzword in corporate, and it's become more popular. It started maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. People started talking, the real pioneers or whatever trendsetters were saying it's all going to be about resiliency, and now everyone's using this word resiliency in the workplace. I'm speaking to a corporate group next week, and they're like, "Can you speak around resiliency?" And as much as I love resiliency, don't get me wrong, for me, it's not enough. Because to me, resiliency is always about getting you back to the line. In my car, Drive Your Happiness, I talk about staying in your lane, and you don't want to, cross the line because it's dangerous. So it's always about staying in your lane. And to me, resiliency is almost like getting back to where you were. But what if where you were was still a crummy place to be? And so for me, it's not that resiliency doesn't matter. It just isn't enough. For me, if crisis happens or if something happens, it's not about just getting back, but it's growing through and becoming better on the other side. And I haven't been able to find the word for that. But you just saying that today is very much that. Don't just bounce back, because that to me is resiliency. You want to bounce forward. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. You want to grow through, and you want to become better for whatever it is you're going through, whether it's an organization or it's your own personal life. I don't know what that word is, but maybe you and I can brainstorm and we can create a word around that. That is like after resiliency, right?
We'll patent it.
We'll patent it. Yeah, I love it. Okay. So, again, I could sit here and talk to you forever. I love our conversations, but, and I just got to say, grass does not grow under your feet. I have watched you over the last few years evolve. And when you started your bee workshops and the bee book, and I mean, you just keep growing. Your branding's bang on, your messaging's bang on. And since this challenging time, which we're not allowed to say the C word during HAPPIFIED, or we will get bleeped out.
We had an agreement.
There is no C. There's no C happening at HAPPIFIED. But during the last few months, when you were thrown, you travel a lot. You travel to countries, and everything changed for you. And a lot of corporate probably backed off on training. Everybody's just trying to figure this out. And during that time, you wrote Bee Book 2.0. You've developed 2 new workshops.
Yeah.
Right. And you've facilitated workshops in 36 countries. Yeah. And you have mastered 6 different online platforms.
You read my LinkedIn post.
I read your LinkedIn post, and I was like, you go, Paul. Like, that is you just showing up and saying, screw you, I'm going to move forward, and no one's holding me back, and I'm going to figure this out. And I just love that about you, that you just, it's not that you drink champagne for breakfast and life is perfectly easy. I'm sure you have your own things going on, but you have taken this and seen opportunity and the possibilities, and you've taken action. So thank you, Paul. Thank you for everything sharing. Again, we've got your Bee Book here at A Dose of Happiness. We're super excited to be promoting your workshop. We'll be talking about that more after HAPPIFIED and getting your information over here in Canada. I know we've talked about trying to get you over here, but it's never worked out. And now we've got, that word happening. So who knows what will happen, but we've still got online. So
you're on the green list now.
I know, right? And we're going to see what we can do to expand on this and get this information to people, because I've studied under a lot of people around the world. And I really think that you are a real leader in this space. And you, like I said, what you've brought to what you're teaching now, you bring a lot of knowledge and experience, and you've just really simplified it and brought it into one.
Well, back at you.
Well, thank you. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan, and it's just a privilege to call you a friend. And I really thank you for taking the time and being part of HAPPIFIED. And I'm hoping, just as you said, that some information here will just ignite somebody. We can't save the world. We can't do that in 50 minutes, but we can hopefully just ignite someone's energy to say they want to pay attention. So thank you for that. And
thanks
awesome
for having
shirt.
me.
I love your shirt. I love your
I hope
shirt.
it's not too bright.
No. Are you kidding me? Have you seen my wall? Anyways, yeah. Thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your day, and we'll be connecting again soon.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.